Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and you may be asking yourself, why am I standing here with a mountain of trimmed and seasoned meat in front of me? Well, the reason is because I finally found an offset smoker that can do the Bar-A cold smoke method. And in order to test it out, I thought let's fill the thing up and do a max capacity cook. And I'm using this smoker because it has some unique features that allow it to do the cold smoke method. We'll show you more on that later. But let's load the pit with all these. I got 4 briskets, 4 racks of beef ribs, and 4 pork butts. We're gonna load them on and then get the fire and the damper set. We'll show you all that. Let's get these things on. Right? Oh. Four. You gotta do what you gotta do, Junior. 16 degrees. All the butts, all the briskets. Got 3 more beef ribs. So. Let's get this thing set up. First, we'll adjust the dampers, and keep in mind right now it's almost 1 a.m. I'm gonna try to let this go for about 7 hours. So let's start with the damper on the stack. All right, this damper is gonna be on its second most closed setting. So that's completely closed. I'm gonna go 1 out from that. So there's a little bit of air drawing through. And then the auxiliary stack is gonna be why this magic works. I'm gonna close this down. Now this auxiliary stack allows air to flow out and it keeps the fire going. This works in 1,000-gallon offsets because the cook chamber volume is so big. This pit is about 115 gallons, but this method still works because you bypass the entire cook chamber, keeping the fire going. You allow the chamber to fill with smoke, but you're releasing a lot of the heat right here. So your fire doesn't die, and it doesn't get runaway temperatures because this is like a bypass. So you get the effect of the Bar-A cold smoke without having to have a 1,000-gallon pit. So I'm gonna take this and close it about halfway. And if I need to adjust it, I'll update you guys. But in the past, when I've tried to make this work, this setting has been just about perfect. So the damper on the main stack, almost closed. This damper about half open, maybe a little bit more, maybe 60% open. And then let's build the fire and I'll show you how I adjust the door. All right, so we got our coals ripping. So I did not use matchlight. If I were true to form, I would use matchlight, but I think there'd be so many people in the comments who'd have heart attacks that we can't do it that way. But I'm gonna start with a base layer, probably 4 logs that I want straight and flat. And then on top of that, I'll probably do 4 more. And then on top of that, 4 more. And then we will have our log cabin built. Now, these coals are so hot that this is probably gonna burst into open flame relatively quickly. So I might have to use the donkey long tongs, but that's okay. Got 1, 2, 3. I guess I'll do 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we did 4 stacks of 3. You can see this is starting to go, and at this point I'm going to start closing down the door. Okay, we see the flames kind of licking up through the logs. That tells me it's time to close this thing down. So I'm just going to leave it cracked. Using this cam on the door, I can adjust it to exactly what I want. So I'm going to bring it in probably just about like that. Okay, so we have this thing barely cracked. I'm going to stay out here for maybe 5 minutes, make sure that the flame keeps going. Other than that, we're going to let this thing rock until maybe 7, 8 in the morning. If we can wait that long, I'll probably pop my head out at some point during the night just to make sure everything's good. And I think I'm also going to use a meat probe to measure the temperature in the cook chamber throughout the night. But the whole point of doing it this way is to be able to go get some sleep. I'm going to go do that now, and I'll check with you in the morning. We're going to see how this turns out. All right, guys, it's the next day. Let me update you on what's happening. I had this probe in here, and I looked at the temperature, and we had a peak temperature overnight of 225 on the bottom grate, and an average temperature of right at 192. So pretty much what I was going for. So really pleased with that. Then this morning, I came out about 5.5 hours after we walked away, and I started adding logs to the fire. So it's been going a couple hours after the cold smoke period, but let's take a look at the color and bark that we're getting on this meat. It's pretty good. All right, first of all, these beef ribs are looking really good. When I came out here this morning after the cold smoke, they were at about 155. After a couple hours of running the pit at 275, these things are shrinking up. They're gonna be ready to wrap any second. These beef ribs on the bottom rack, I wanted to see how differently they cooked. The color's about the same, but the internal temp isn't as high because it's going to be lower temp on the bottom rack. It's the way it always works. These pork butts, nice, beautiful dark bark. Those are going to be ready to wrap any second. And these briskets, probably in the next hour or so, are going to be ready to wrap. So we'll update you on those. But so far, I'm tremendously pleased. From the looks of things, this is going exactly how I want it to go. But we aren't really going to know until we taste it. So we're judging on looks, 10 out of 10. We're going to see if this method really can work in a backyard pit when we finish these up and give them a taste test. So stick around. So total cook time today, we're probably going to be looking at maybe between 6 and 8 hours to finish everything up. And then we had the cold smoke the night before. So really not bad. But I'll give you a full update on time when we finish everything. I'll probably wrap everything in about an hour. One other note before I forget, almost 6 hours later when I came out this morning, there were still coals in the firebox. I added chunks of wood. I didn't have to do anything special to get the fire going again. Just put the wood there, waited about 30 seconds, and we were off to the races. So that part was also easy. Ultimately, it comes down to flavor. We're going to see how that goes. Couple more hours of cooking, and the beef ribs that are on the top rack are barky and done. I'm just gonna rest them in foil since I took them all the way through unwrapped. I'm gonna rest them in foil, and then I'm gonna wrap these pork butts, and then probably a little bit longer on the briskets. They're still in the stall, so I'm gonna wait for them to push through the stall. Then I'm gonna wrap them in butcher paper and tallow. But come take a look at these. I'm really impressed. Which grade are you on? Which grade are you on? Ooh, it's feeling good. Excellent. All right, let's wrap these pork boots. We'll put that back in a minute. That was hot. Ooh, looking nice. By the way, for any of you wondering what the brisket looks like, it's looking pretty good. Not even time to wrap yet. The juices are dripping. Everything is still soft. This is gorgeous. The underside, looking pretty good. Really pleased. This is hot though. Oh. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. Double wrap on this guy. Double wrap coming up. All right, a little bit longer. Wrap those briskets up. Be good to go. All right, it's time to wrap these briskets up. Butcher paper and some tallow, and then we're gonna do some pork ribs on the top rack while we're waiting for these to finish. We're gonna see really what max capacity is in the process of testing out this cold smoke method. So let's get those briskets, let's get them wrapped, let's get them back on, and then let's prep some pork ribs. Ta-da, this looks good, man. Give it a little love. A little love. Back on, repeat 3 more times. This one looks a little funky. Seven racks of pork ribs on. Let's get them cooking. I feel like Malcolm Reed when I say that. Let's get to cooking. All right, guys, it's time to see where the rubber meets the road on this cold smoke method. So we cooked a lot of food. May seem a bit excessive, but the evolution, we wanted to really see how much we could cook on it. So 4 briskets, 4 racks of beef ribs, 4 pork butts, 8 racks of pork ribs. I think that's probably enough for about 175 people, which is pretty good for a backyard pit. But let's start with the pork ribs, because these did not get the cold smoke method. And then we can compare it to the flavor we got on pork butts that we did do cold smoke style. And the reason I didn't use pork ribs for the cold smoke and pork ribs non-cold smoke is because I don't think you would cold smoke pork ribs. I don't know how they would stand up to that kind of cook. I'm just comparing flavor, smoke flavor, 1 to 1. So let me get some of these ribs out. As you can see, we've got a lot of food here. Dig them out of the pile. Here we got our ribs, and we still managed to get pretty much the whole thing pink with smoke. Emphasis on cold smoke today. It's 9 degrees, and it says it feels like -5. So plenty cold. Let's get a pork butt and shred some of this up. Let's grab a chunk here. Cold smoked pork butt. So we'll try that. This will cool off rapidly, so we got to do this taste test quickly. All right, to do this taste test, I'm going to bring in my friend and partner in Superior Smokers, the maker of the Evolution, Jeremy Hengy. We are going to give these a taste test. So you want to grab a rib. These are non-cold smoked. These were cooked on the top rack. Let's try it. This is baseline.
Very good.
Really good. Not super smoky. Of course, they weren't cooked to be super smoky. But all the flavors there are really nice. Erica, you want to try it? Yeah. Sorry, I got to feed the camera lady.
That's good. It's good.
These could have gone a little bit longer, I think.
Oh my gosh, so good.
All right. Camera lady loves them.
Oh,
Well,
she just dropped it.
if only we had more food. She's, it's all good.
What a rookie move.
Yeah. Party foul. So, those had really nice smoke flavor. It just wasn't a super heavy smoke flavor because those were cooked hot and fast, top rack. It's kind of what we expected. I want to try this pork butt and see what kind of smoke flavor we got on this doing the cold smoke method. There's no graceful way to do this, I don't think. But let's try it.
Definitely more smoke flavor.
A lot smokier.
Mm-hmm. It's not overpowering though.
Not overpowering. It actually reminds me of Bar-A. It's like a particular smoke flavor. It's not dirty smoke, but I'm going to try some of the outside again.
I know I need some bark here.
I think that's actually pretty phenomenal, dude.
That's really good, yeah.
A lot of times with pork butts, it's difficult to get enough flavor on the outside so that when you mix it all together, it's the right balance on the inside. And I think with this, we achieved it. I think probably cold smoke method is how I do pork butts from now on. I mean, just really good. You don't have to, but that's actually super, super nice. So
Yeah, you would think you would get like the dirty smoke flavor from it, but you don't at all. It's really nice.
yeah, actually very impressed. Now we're moving on to beef. We're going to see how it put flavor on the beef ribs. Let's see how we did. And the steam looks good, but still nice and juicy. You can see the fat on top still rendered well, even doing the cold smoke method, or maybe even because of the cold smoke method, all the fat and silver skin we left on top all turned into delicious bark, hopefully. For the camera lady.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one's money. Yeah, so you guys can see if it doesn't solidify really fast because it's freezing out here. Still packed with juice. That's all good. And the bark is very barky. So these we did completely unwrapped for the entire cook, then rested in foil. Typically when you go unwrapped, it reduces the amount of smoke flavor in my experience. Anecdotally, I have no definitive proof on that, but just that's how it seems to go. So let's try it and see how it went. Ooh,
It went well.
it went very well.
Oh, that was good. That is so good.
No lack of smoke flavor. Every once in a while I take a bite of barbecue that makes me fall in love with barbecue again. And this bark on the outside,
It's so
it's
good.
salty, it's smoky, it's got rendered fat. Oh, and juicy meat underneath. The Rolls Royce of barbecue is this bite. Sorry if the camera's moving. Erica can't stop eating. That's freaking good, dude.
I think the cold smoke is the way to go.
Dude, that's freaking good.
That's money. Can you feel your fingers? I can't really feel mine anymore.
My fingers are cold, and all the fat on the fingers has already solidified. Let's set these aside.
It's still steamy.
Still steamy. Look at that bark, dude.
Oh, that looks great.
Now that is what we call bark. And that is what you're trying to create. I mean, that is pretty spectacular, man. I couldn't really be more pleased. The underside of this, pretty good. And these are commodity briskets. It's not anything super special. So I'm going to separate this first. That looks nice and juicy to me.
I think it's freezing as the juice drips.
Yeah, you should see the grease drain. The grease that was dripping out of the smoker has just formed like a grease icicle, and it's pretty insane. So for this, to get a sense of the flavor, I'm just gonna cut off these burnt ends. If we cook this much food, we should eat the best. Oh man, look at that. Yeah, that's good. You know, I didn't think anything could compete with that bite we just took from the beef rib. This might.
That looks pretty good.
Pretty spectacular, man. Let's cut some burnt ends. 1, 2, and 1 for the camera operator. Caution, maybe hot. Probably feels good on your fingers now. You can definitely smell the smoke on this. Even though I've been surrounded by smoke for like the last day, still smell it. Let's see. When you get an offset smoker and you want to create offset smoke flavor, this is what you're trying to do.
It's so good. I'm crying right now, but my tears are frozen. That's very good.
Wow. I couldn't be any more pleased with how that turned out. In order to be fair, we got to try some lean. Here we got our lean, smoke ring here. We see the fat on top is rendered. Then we have a little bit of point muscle and then more fat in there. And that's actually rendered pretty well. And as you can see, it's still nice and juicy. Maybe we should take one from even further down on the flat. This one looks great. Let me cut one from down here, just so we don't have the two muscles. And look at this. That fat is yellow and translucent, exactly what we want. You can see there's even rendered fat in this flat here. That's all good. Doesn't fall under its own weight, tears apart easily. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect amount of fat, rendered well. Smoke, salt, beef, everything I want to taste in there, man. The only thing left is an end cut. Last bite, end cut.
That's
Still juicy.
so good.
This might be my favorite bite so far. This is the smokiest bite so far.
Yeah, it's almost got like a little sweet, smoky flavor to it.
Yeah. So what do you think about the cold smoke method?
I like it. I mean, I love the smoke flavor. It's great. It's not overpowering. It's super convenient. Load the firebox up, actually get some sleep, wake up, take everything out. It's great. I mean, I might have to start doing this for all my briskets.
Yeah, I think what Coop and the guys at Bar-A have figured out is just a great way to get incredible bark. Just bark alone, A++. Smoke flavor, it's a slightly different profile than, you know, when I'm doing the cook by myself. I don't know how to judge if it's better or worse. It's a little different, maybe a little bit stronger smoke flavor. I don't think it got to the point of dirty smoke, but I think it's right on the line. It's like the bleeding edge. Any more, it'd be like kind of dirty smoke, you know, kind of off-putting. But it's just towing the line, like right there. So if you're really sensitive to dirty smoke, then it might not be the right method for you. But if you want a really rich and robust smoke flavor, I don't know, I think this might be the method to go to. And in terms of the cook quality, I mean, we're fighting super cold conditions and a packed full smoker and all kinds of things like that, but I couldn't be more pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah, I would eat that any day. I mean, that is awesome.
I think probably for people who struggle to get the bark the way they want, this might be the key to success if you can do it. Problem is, on most backyard pits, well, on all backyard pits that I know of besides this one, it might be difficult to pull off. What you probably have to do is something like, you know, put a stick in the cook chamber door so some of the smoke and heat can escape so your fire doesn't die, or, you know, you might have to get creative with how you do it. With this, in the auxiliary stack, it allows the fire to run all night and you don't have to mess with it. It just kind of does its thing and turns the entire cook chamber into a cold smoke chamber.
Right.
So your mileage may vary. If you're able to do the cold smoke method or something similar where you spend, you know, the first 4, 5, 6 hours at low temperatures and really smoky, I would highly recommend doing that. But with these results, I can definitively say on cooks in the future, I will be employing this method because we cooked enough food for almost 200 people and I didn't lose sleep. I stayed up late the first night. I think we got started at 1 a.m. or something like that. But I went and slept basically a full night's sleep, and then, you know, you cook all the food, put it in the warmer. Whenever you're ready to serve it, you serve it. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. If you guys are interested in the Evolution offset, you can go to superiorsmokers.com and you'll see all the information there, all the specs. I'll put a link in the description if you guys are interested in checking it out. But I'm really, really, really pleased with it. I think there's some genuine cool parts of the design. If you guys are looking for a full pit tour showing all the features, be on the lookout for that. I'll be filming that as soon as I can after this. I think you'll be intrigued at least. And I think you'll probably really like it. And anybody who's cooked on it so far has really enjoyed it. But we'll show you all those details later. If you guys enjoyed the video, you can hit the like button down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Actually, it's not Twitter, it's X now. X. And Patreon, @MadScientistBarbecue. I'll see you guys next time. Cool. I'm about to freeze my nose.